Hey Nick, what's going on?
Andrew, I met the girl of my dreams. She had everything, the sailboat, everything. And she
Great.
left me.
Oh,
She said she didn't love me.
that's too bad. Anyways, look, we got a couple of things to talk about the show. Okay, so I really wanted to start planning for our show in Acapulco.
Acapulco. That was our first vacation ever. I remember it.
Okay, well, how about on Tuesday night, and we're going to go with the guys to Jaro Boutique for dinner, and we're going to discuss planning the next couple of months.
Hero Boutique was the first souvlaki we ever had together. I remember she dripped some tzatziki over here, and I can't.
Nick, what about planning a show on the moon?
The moon? Every time I look at the moon, Andrew, I think of her face. It's like just looking at me.
Nick, you need help.
Nick, it's the fairy matchmaker.
Fairy matchmaker. She left me. Why? I loved her.
You're unrealistic once.
She had a boat and everything. She was great. She was rich. Hey guys, Nick Drossos.
Dr. Andrew Steinberg.
And welcome to another episode of
Have the balls to talk about it.
Our guest Susan is back, the
Back in the
matchmaker.
house.
Hello, guys.
Susan, thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love being here.
So Susan, we've got a lot of questions and a lot of comments.
Okay.
And one of the questions we got from a viewer is, how do you
Reinvent,
reinvent,
rejuvenate,
rejuvenate, rebuild, restart, reset your life after a breakup,
divorce,
Death.
death.
Yeah.
So what kind of tips can you tell people?
Well, there's a mourning period in everything, and everybody mourns differently. A death is different than a divorce, because a death, you're not, you still love the person. A divorce, you're like, okay, time to split up. And one of the things about breakups that people don't always understand is it doesn't matter who's the one who decides to end it. Both parties suffer. You do suffer. I mean, come on. There's still, separation anxiety. There's, starting over, moving on, new chapter, new beginnings. And at the beginning, you're
In so many ways, financially,
exactly.
security, romantically.
So it depends also on the person. Like, for instance, you hear a lot about, people saying, I got divorced and my wife took all my money. I mean, especially Uber drivers. That's all I hear from the Uber driver.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, all the Uber drivers. I'm divorced. My wife took it all, and I'm like,
I was making
guys,
$10 million a year.
Yeah. I said to you,
driving
I
Uber.
always, yeah, exactly. I always say, listen, if your wife took all your money, you didn't have that much money,
Right.
because she doesn't get 100% of your money. Okay, so let's face it. Maybe also you went into the relationship with this. When you come in, if you're coming from let's say you were living with your parents. Okay, so you weren't paying rent. Okay, you had all this money, you were dating her and you were taking her out to all the fancy restaurants, you were driving a fancy car, you were, traveling. That's great. That was an image that you showed her. But remember, now you got married, she didn't work, she was home raising the children, and that income became supporting 3 or 4 people. Things change. So in your eyes, you thought you had a lot of money. But you really didn't. You had a lot of money when you lived at home, but you didn't have a lot of money when you were in the marriage. So when you split up, there's not that much, yes, she takes because she has the kid, or she's, she was married to you, she deserves, whatever. But, so there's that financial. So you have to.
You coach people on getting back in terms of, obviously you're a matchmaker, but in terms of relationship, but you coach them also in getting back in all the other aspects of life as well?
Well, if they need that, if I see they've been hurt,
Mm-hmm.
if they've been, and the issue with the matchmaking is a lot of people, that's why it's a lifestyle matchmaker,
Right.
because that's what I wanted people to come, to help them rebuild, as just coming to me for thinking I'm going to fix them up on a date. That's
Right.
That's not my image at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's, so I love the one that comes to me and he's been, he kind of needs my help. Or my advice, a better word for it is advice, how we can do this and change and feel better about themselves. I mean, listen, it's a breakup or it's a loss and it's hard. And like I said, the hardest ones are the widows, the men, because they lost their wife, you know, and they may have been with that woman for 30 or 40 years, and you can't just put them out on a date.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is like, what? You know, and these women could be really tough. You know I fixed up a widowed man once, and the nicest man, but he was a widower. He hadn't been with anybody in 30 years.
Wow.
And the woman was so tough on that date with him, like he was frightened.
From your experience, we're looking at breakups.
Yeah.
Do you find it's easier for men or for women? Does it make a difference?
No, it doesn't make a difference. You know what? Women will get over it probably quicker because she has more of a support group than a guy does.
It also matters who broke up with who, I would
No,
imagine.
but yes and no. But no matter what, like I said, no matter who breaks up, there's still a loss for both parties. Maybe one's happier than the other to be, you know, and moving on with somebody else. I mean, that is a hard one. You know, if someone leaves you for somebody else, or especially when a man leaves a woman for a younger woman, you know, that's a lot of ego there. So it's not so much that the marriage was so good.
A man leaves a woman, not a woman leaving a man for a younger man.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
No, very rare. But you know, you hear a lot of this. This, like, you know, they weren't happy in their marriage. They were both miserable. So the man decided to leave, and yes, he found somebody younger, and he went on with his life. And then the woman is so bitter about it. But you weren't happy in the relationship. It's not like you were making this guy feel so good when he came home every night. So the fact that he ended up with a younger girl, it's just your ego.
Just ego, yeah.
Of course it's your ego, you know? But play back the whole marriage, you weren't nice to this guy. And then finally one day, he decided to leave. And it just happens that he attracted a younger woman.
You think it's more the fact that, you know, one person finds somebody faster than the other?
Oh yeah, I had a older gentleman in his late 60s. Like he wanted to find somebody before his wife did.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you doing that to yourself?
Ego again.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and it wasn't even, and
Right.
he left his wife. I understood if his wife left him,
Yeah.
but he left the wife. Like, why do you want to hurt her anymore? Do you understand? Like, so I had to talk him through this. Like, this is not important. What's important is that you split up, you know, and move on.
Move on. What would you define as moving on? Like, what would be the steps for somebody to get over a breakup?
Well, the best part of getting over a breakup is trying not to focus on the breakup, not talk about it so much. And that's what people do. You know, usually guys don't. And that's another thing. Sometimes it's good to see somebody to talk about it because they hold it in. And they hold it in because they don't really want to show that they're hurting. They don't want to share it with anybody. They keep it much more than women. Women share it with everybody: the postman, the hairdresser, the friends. They have more of a support group, so they could probably get over it a lot faster, as the guy holds more in, which is not good. It's good to go see someone and talk about it. Let it out. It's like an onion. Peel off the skins. This way, you're getting into a healthier relationship.
Do they have social support groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, but for?
Well,
You know,
there's the one that when you're addicted to having to be with somebody.
No, but I mean not that far, but just
Yeah.
sort of a bunch of guys who
Yeah.
are recently divorced or broken up or whatever, or just want to, you know, spill the beans to each other.
I'm sure. I've never really heard of it because, to me, I find men are much more private. You know what I mean?
But that's bad.
Well, I found one of
The support groups again. If you know, does the guy really have time to go and talk about it with a bunch of guys he doesn't know? If he's an alcoholic or he's got a drug addiction, I mean, that's your life. I mean,
Right.
that's something that you have to go and do.
But even men, I
Yeah.
know men, especially today, it's more common getting divorced, and I know some men that took a beating on them financially, but as well it affected their work, and you know it affected everything else around because it kind of broke them down.
Yeah.
And they hold it inside. They're embarrassed to talk about it. They want to play macho. They want to play tough. They don't want
You
to
know,
share.
that's really important because if I could coach somebody before they get into that situation, that's usually like when you see people that married the wrong person.
Okay.
But both parties, the women or the man, they married it was just not a good fit.
Or
No, it
they
wasn't-
grew apart.
Well,
They married the right person
Well, if you
20
grew
years ago.
apart, you were
Yeah.
really, you were never really together.
So what do you explain that?
If you a good relationship, like when they say you grew apart, you probably weren't really 100% compatible from the beginning.
Well,
That's why you grew apart.
Well, I'm giving an example of a couple
because
I know. They got married in their 20s,
Yeah.
early 20s, and
Yeah.
obviously they're not the same people as they grew.
No, but they may not even, like, exactly in your 20s, you're not the same person you are in your 30s. I can reassure you, when you hit your 50s, you're nothing like your 20s. Do you understand? So your 20s,
You're much better, right?
Yeah, you're so much more comfortable. That's why I always tell men, don't give an ex to a woman in her 50s, because a woman in her 50s is like the best. She's really at her prime. First of all, the 50s now are really the 40s, right? So that's why women, I mean, I see the difference in myself. My health is much better in my 50s. My attitude, my social surrounding, my life,
I just
everything,
turned
my
50.
health,
I'm feeling
everything.
the same also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really change.
You got some years to go though.
Yeah. I mean, it's different for a man who, I mean, obviously if a man is in his 60s and he's never been married and he decides he wants to have a child, he's obviously not going to pick a 50-year-old, you know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, mind you, I had one client, she was 52 and because she married a younger guy and he wanted a child. She had natural birth at
52?
Yeah, natural.
Wow.
Yeah. But you have your priorities, you know.
Yeah,
you love somebody. Look, there's so many kids out there looking for homes, babies, you know. If you love each other and you bring in someone, you know, an adopted baby at a certain age, it doesn't matter, it doesn't change anything. It's a baby, it loves you, you love it, you know, and it's this relationship be the most important. And that's why the most important thing, like people, you hear all the time, you know, our relationship was so good until we had kids.
Yeah, you hear that often.
Yeah, because everything changes. I mean, first of all, when you're in your 20s and you're just, you know, dating or you're just moving in together or you just got married, I mean, it's honeymoon. It's the real honeymoon. You know, it's honeymoon of life. You're moving together. If you married actually to get out of the house, you're actually so happy because now you have your own place. You guys could do what you want when you want. And then all of a sudden, a baby comes along. Now, does she go back to work? Financial? You know, sometimes you get a nanny in the house. Your privacy's changing. A lot of changes. You know, so you have to really. To me, the foundation of the relationship has to be really strong. If you're going to go into having children, you really have to discuss things, and you have to be honest. And and this is the most important thing of any relationship. I don't care if you come through a matchmaker, if you go online, if you get set up by a friend, you meet somebody on the street. It's the foundation. So
well, when we say that the main thing of breakups are money and sex, that's what people say.
Okay.
Do you think that's true? Do you think that's accurate? Or what do you think is the...
Well, yeah, because it goes back again to the foundation. Maybe, like, I know a guy who once shared with me that he couldn't afford that his wife doesn't work. So he was stealing from people to make ends meet. Yeah.
Stealing?
Yeah.
And she
stealing.
didn't want to work? They didn't have the conversations? Or
No, she said, I don't want to work. And he said, fine. But then that was a lie. You hurt yourself. You shot yourself in the leg before it got going. Do you understand? You couldn't run very far. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you weren't honest. You tell somebody, listen, financially, it's, you know, if we have kids and we get a nanny, I really can't afford that. That's a lot of money. You have to explain it. And then she said, well, then I don't want to get married. Then that's not the woman for you.
Right.
So half these people, or maybe more than half, that are sitting in feeling sorry for themselves, should have never married that person. You were never honest. If that person's looking just for a lifestyle, and that's what you want to make them believe that you have, then shame on you when you get caught.
It's not what went wrong in the relationship. It's sort of what went wrong when you made your choice
Yeah,
to be in this
you
relationship.
never you have to be honest. You know.
So really, it's and probably this is one of your biggest jobs is how to find the real right match that you guys are really in sync with your goals, financially, sex, love, whatever, kids.
Right.
I mean, you really have to give yourself the best chance of making it work. You really have to be in sync from the get-go.
Yeah, if I'm speaking to a woman, okay, she comes to, she's young. You know, what are you looking for? Well, I want a guy. I want, you know, I do very well. You know, today women are, you know, have great jobs. And, you know, I'm not looking for, you know, some people will be very honest. I'm not looking for a sugar daddy. I want to be his partner. I love these girls. These are my favorite. You know, they're looking for a partnership, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So then you know, wow, this girl's easy for any of my clients because she's actually looking for a real partner. She's looking for that, you know.
Well, do you have men who want to be the dominant?
Well, you could tell. I could tell right away when they're speaking to me if they're controlling.
Right.
You could tell. You know what I mean? Like, you know they're financial, you know the way, and you ask the question, like, and a lot of times, if it's their first time married, you have to kind of read them the riot act. Like, this is what could happen down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, money comes, money goes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know when it's going to go, and you don't know, you know, sometimes you know it's coming, but when it's going, you don't know. So if that's a real hard thing to get over. If you marry with somebody because you love the lifestyle,
Right.
and slowly the lifestyle is falling apart because you're not sure if it was ever real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hear these stories every single day. And then shame on you.
Yeah.
So the foundation is really to be completely transparent with what you could each offer
Yeah.
realistically and with the expectations of each other.
Yeah. Listen, I meet guys all the time. You could see they make $30,000 a year, and they're dating a woman who's like, you know, $30,000 is just what she spends on her hair every year. So like you're fooling yourself.
You've actually seen that?
Yeah. Of course. No, I meet people all the
Okay.
time. I mean, you know, parties, whatever. Young guys will talk to me. I'm looking at this guy going like, "Are you kidding
How are
me?
you going to keep that up, right?
Yeah, you're picking the wrong women. You can't afford that style."
On that note, because we're talking about again sort of rebuilding, or do our I would say men, because we're talking about men or women, I guess, more insightful after have gone through a long relationship, divorce, death, whatever it is,
Yeah.
because they can look back and say, okay, well, this is really, that part of my relationship was, you know, where I was missing, and are they able to sort of say, going forward, I want to avoid that, and does that help?
Well, this is where I want to come in.
Right.
Like, this is where they may have never spoken to anybody.
So you got to analyze their whole.
Well, and not so much like it's talking to people. It's something like that you have to realize when you're talking, when you're having this consultation, is okay. You know what? I was in a relationship. You know, my wife was always unhappy. It was never enough. So right there,
Yeah.
no matter what you could have done for her,
It's never enough.
Right, and you can't be someone's cheerleader. So you have to know also, does this person ever suffer of a depression? Like, these are things that I know,
Right.
but you may not know that. They hide it, and sometimes the parents hide it from you. You know, they don't want you to know that their son or daughter has bipolar or suffers in depression. They don't.
Do you work with a team of professionals?
Yeah,
psychologists?
yeah.
You have a black book of.
Yeah, for instance, I constantly collaborate with people. I have to. I can't do everything. I don't do hair. I don't do makeup. I don't do. You know, I'm not a
If they need a
psychologist.
therapist, they'll say you need
Yeah,
a
but
psychologist.
listen, I'm, you know, I went to school of hard knocks. I have a lot of experience in dating. You know, someone who, you know, people always say, well, how do you have the experience? I said, well, I'm a matchmaker. I've never been married. I'm in a 12-year relationship right now. But because of my experiences in different dating, with sometimes repeating the same patterns, how did I break the pattern?
Yes.
So a lot of the tools that I went through in my life, like issues with my parents, forgiveness, learning forgiveness, and that's one of the tools I like to use. Like, okay, you know what? You don't have to beat yourself up. So that relationship went wrong.
Yeah.
So you lost your money. Money, one thing I could tell you, if you want to make money, you go back out there and you work hard. That's the real world, okay? Listen.
Can you look into the camera and say that?
Yeah, you want to make money, you go out and you work hard. Okay, there's this entitlement generation, I don't know. They don't want to work hard. But the truth is, you could always make back money. You can never make back time.
Yeah.
And time clicks very fast.
I like that. You said look into the camera and say that.
That's right. You could always make back money. You can never make
I
back
love that.
time.
I love that.
And life is short. You know, so you can't sit there like, okay, it's a rehearsal here. I married. Look at, you know what? I'll sit down with a guy and I'll say, okay, listen, I understand, but you made a mistake. Yeah. Okay, you didn't make. Oh, it's a big deal. You married her, but yeah, but she's you know, it starts. You don't have to tear her apart. She's still the mother of your children. You know, you're still going to see her the rest of your life as long as you're going to have a great relationship with your children. Don't hurt the children. They're already hurt.
Yeah, it's true.
So you don't have to be nasty. You know, you both made a mistake. It didn't work. Okay. And more people have this attitude of turn the page and start a new chapter, we'd be a much happier world.
I have another business for you. I mean, you're talking about relationship management and consulting, but I think divorce consulting needs to have a professional also.
Yeah. Like just the start of a new chapter. Listen, you're with somebody for 10 years. You may not have been married, but 10 years of your life with somebody is a commitment.
Right.
So it's learning to start over. And what I feel as a lot of guys, especially because of this last 15 years of online dating, I have never seen the people being so negative to move on to the next chapter. Like I know in my day of dating.
But if they're coming to you, they're by default wanting to move on to the next chapter.
Not necessarily, because if they think I'm a dating service, they won't come to me.
Right.
But because I'm not a dating service. But if they know that I'm a matchmaker, lifestyle coach, and they could come to me for some coaching before we get them out there.
That's what I'm saying. So
I'm not putting a guy.
So they're seeing you because they want to move on to the next chapter.
Yeah, so there's steps to move on. If you come to me and you just came through a horrible relationship and you're fighting custody and
you're not ready.
I'm not putting no woman in this position.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's work it through. There's no rush.
Right.
There's no rush. You're just going to run in and hit the wall, and that's what people do. Like they don't want to be alone. So while they're like going through, they're hitting, and
it's so easy now.
Well, you could listen. I got 3 guys this week who said to me, "I'm online dating. I'm addicted, Susan. I need you to help me get off of it." I have never had that in my 12 years of professionally doing this. Ever had anybody come to me saying and telling me these horror stories, and like both sides.
Wow.
So there is an issue here. And you see more and more people, used to be that you got divorced and, you met somebody through somebody and whatever, and you went on and you didn't really, there wasn't that much focus on but now, even if you go on with social media, you're still looking to see what that person's doing. Yeah, it's so easy to keep yourself in reverse.
You remember you made a conscious effort to not follow her on.
I just block everybody.
Yes.
I just block them.
Yeah, but you could. But let's say that was smart on your part. But not everybody's that smart to say I'll block. Some people want,
Well, sometimes curiosity.
No, they want to know what they're doing. Did they find somebody else yet? It's normal. You know what I'm saying? Back in my day, when we didn't have call display or cell phones, we used to call to see if the guy was home and hang up on him. Okay, he's still home. He hasn't met anybody. But those days are over. You can't do that.
But then you got a busy tone, and then you're like, who's he talking to?
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of the challenges for me, and I say it openly, like I was always in a relationship. I jumped from one relationship to another.
But that's an issue.
But when I got divorced...
Yeah, you took the 2 years.
No, I took the 2 years. I jumped in one relationship, then I took the 2 years. And I remember with my coach, is like, she told me you're going to coast the ship now, and you're going to learn how to be alone.
Yeah,
how to sleep alone.
Yes.
How to eat alone.
That's it.
How to travel alone. I did everything alone. It was actually the 2 best years, the most productive. I focused on my work, on my son. I put my energy anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that was actually challenging for me. At the beginning, it was weird because my instinct was, I got to meet somebody. I can't be alone.
Yeah.
And then I took the 2 years, and that really helped me to actually learn more about myself as well.
If you go onto my website, there's a blog I did about that, about being able to be by yourself. I love my own company. I'm my own best friend. I learned at a very young age to travel by myself, eat in restaurants by myself, stay home by myself.
But you have weird. I go to a restaurant alone.
No.
People are like, you're going alone?
No.
You have to have a good personality outward.
No. And that's another thing is, if you read this article, I was having dinner with a girlfriend in a restaurant, and this guy was sitting there by himself. And the first thing she said to me is, "Oh, he's so good looking. He's such a loser." I go, "Why is he a loser?"
I feel I get that when I go to the restaurant alone.
Absolutely not. You're a winner. Somebody who could be in their own skin. Oh my God! Listen. When I first met my partner, he couldn't even be alone for 10 minutes. And then I start to show him. Okay, I say, "Okay, I want you to go for lunch and have a bowl of soup at this restaurant." And he'd go. And I said, "How did you feel?" He said, "It was okay." And then, "Okay, I want you to go to the store and I want you to work with the salesman, not with me there." He went and he did it. So, you have to push yourself outside the comfort zone. Things that and the reason I got into that, first of all, very young, I was very much out there by myself. I enjoyed my own company. But as I got older, the disappointments, whether it was with a male partner or with a female, you know, I don't want to go, but I want to go. And do you know what I'm saying? Or I'm supposed to go away with this girlfriend, she cancels. I'm not going away. So slowly, the first thing I did is I said, okay, I'm going to learn. I was 29 years old. I said, I'm going to learn really how to be alone. I've always been alone, but I'm going to really learn how to be alone. Okay? It's one thing to drive your car around the block alone, but now you're going to have coffee by yourself. So I said, okay, I'm going to drive, you know, a little bit further than from my house. I'm going to go and I'm going to start having coffee and read a book. Oh, I like this. Quiet, coffee. And then I noticed there was other people doing it. Okay. Then I slowly went to a movie by myself. Because you went to a movie by yourself? What happens if your ex-boyfriend walked in and saw you being by yourself? I said, first of all, when you go to a movie, you're not supposed to be talking anyways. So if you're really uncomfortable with that, I didn't have a problem if I saw an ex-boyfriend or I saw an ex-friend. I couldn't care less. Thing is, if you're uncomfortable with that, then just wait till the lights go out and then just go into the theater and leave just as the movie ends. I mean, if that's uncomfortable, but you have to be, you know, when you become your own best friend, you'll see a change in your life. First of all, you're not needy.
Yeah.
So you're waiting for the right one. You know, that's the problem. Is you could come to me and I could tell you, oh, I have the perfect woman, but she's away for 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, you can't be alone. Boom, you're going online, you're out with the wrong person. And then that girl comes back, she meets somebody else, and it's, you know.
So do you try to coach people who are looking for relationships to, at the same time, be comfortable with themselves?
Well, yeah, if someone comes to me and, you know, they haven't been alone for 10 minutes, you know they got an issue. And that's a main issue. And then, you know, getting back to it, then after I start to eat by myself in restaurants, I start to like it. You know, and then I realize, okay, you know, I'll sit at the bar, I talk to the bartender, and I start to meet people, and it's nice. And then from there, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to travel by myself.
That's the best. I love it.
Oh my God.
I've never done it.
You never done it?
Oh movies, I've been movies, and I love that actually.
I love
that.
I'm going to Greece alone. Like I'm going with my son, then I'm staying alone for 3 weeks. I'm gonna do the islands alone. I don't have to. Like I love.
I mean,
wake up on my
business,
Yeah.
business weekend or something. I got a conference, but never not longer than that.
Oh yeah, I went on a vacation by myself, and this man, and you know, I was sitting at a table by myself. It was Christmas Eve, and you know, first of all, I love pick my table for 7 days. This is where, you know, there's all these all-inclusives, right? So this guy comes over with his wife and said, well, we're going to join you. We don't want you to be alone for Christmas. I'm like, no, I want to be alone. Like, I'm thinking, I don't want you. And the next day, and the next day, the guy has like my itinerary. You're going to take my wife to the beach, and then you're going to have lunch. And then I said, okay, buddy, I ain't the babysitter here. You know what I mean? I guess he wanted his wife to have a friend, and so he could go do his thing, you know, go golfing and whatever.
He didn't want you to be alone, but he wanted to be alone.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Have my wife.
Yeah, exactly. Here's my wife, and I'm going to be alone. I'm going golfing. I'm going to go have a drink with the boys. And after like 24 hours, I said, buddy, this ain't working. And then, you know, we never spoke again. But yeah, and then once you become like that, then you know, I also was like that. I used to go from one relationship to another. I always met. But I never really took the time to be alone. And I remember before I met this, and this is my longest relationship, 12 years. Before I met him, I had 3 years where I really
took time to yourself.
Yeah.
And when did you do this?
I met Charles just 2007. So my mom passed away in 2006, and I met him in 2007.
So it's only recent you took that time after all these.
Oh God, yeah. It took 3 years. I mean, I went on date here, you know.
But, I mean, it wasn't as if you said, "Okay, I'm going to give myself 3 years to spend with myself." It just happened.
No, I didn't have a time set.
Right.
I just had. You know what? I one day I said, "Okay, you know what?" I wrote down every relationship that I had, and everything that they all had in common.
Wow.
They're not changing. I had to change.
Good.
I had to change. Yeah. I had to realize the attraction to them, and there's a lot stems from the relationships you have with your parents.
That's some really important information.
Really important. And remember too, like I get men whose fathers abandoned them very young. And you know, that's a really deep thing, because you could, and you know, I just recently had a guy that I coached about that, and I said to him, you know, it's a blessing in disguise that your dad left you so young, because he's an amazing father. And I said, maybe if you never had that, you wouldn't be the father you are. And he said, you know, 25 years, I cried every night I suffered, and tonight, it's going to be the first night I have a good night's sleep, and I am so grateful that you spoke to me about it, because he goes, I couldn't see the blessing in it. There's always, and unfortunately, we have to sometimes take the negative of something, and
But it's always like that, right?
yeah,
We were made or broken by those moments.
yeah. Listen, when my parents got divorced, people used to say, "Don't you want your parents back together? Don't you want your?" And I was like, "No." What do you mean you don't want your parents? I was like, "No, I don't want my parents back together." And that was so rare to ever hear somebody come out and say the truth. I said, "Well, my parents don't get along.
Yeah.
They're fighting." Like now, at least when I go to, go visit my dad, he's one-on-one with me. Yeah. When I'm with my mom, it's discipline. It's, she's tough. You know what I mean? So I saw like, it wasn't as bad as people thought it was. I thought it was, yes, they had their issues and we got torn into it. But if you look at it, if your parents are fighting, it's the ones like, I have a friend whose parents never fought. And when they got divorced, the kids were so mixed up because they never saw their parents fight. So, yeah, sometimes, kids see things they don't understand. Why would my parents get divorced? They never fought. You didn't see them fighting. You didn't see the disagreement. They kept it away from you.
Yeah.
So.
But they feel the energy as well. And
well, they didn't, because there was always a happy home. The kids saw it. Then there's kids that see the fighting, which is not good too.
Yeah.
Because you repeat the pattern. So that's something you don't want your children to see. If you're abusive, if you're a physically abusive person, your son sees you beating up your wife, chances are this is all he knows. So it's really important, how you act in front of the children, you're the role model.
Yeah.
So if they're missing one role model in their life, they're searching for it. So chances are when you go into your relationship with somebody, you are probably playing out roles. Like I used to pick a lot of people in my life that were very similar to the wrong side of my parents, the side of my parents I didn't like, that I always wanted to fix. And finally, when I fixed me and I fixed the relationship between me and my parents, I get into forgiveness, I was able to pick somebody who was the two best parts of both parents.
So I guess the base to not getting in a toxic relationship is just
not
working
to be
on
toxic.
yourself.
Not to come into any. Yeah. Listen, we can't help the life we had. We can't help our childhood. We can't help the lessons we go through, the bullies that we meet along the way. But
we could choose how we're going to react to it. And
right, and how we're going to, and there's so many tools. Like when we were growing up, we didn't have Oprah, we didn't have Dr. Phil. Yeah. We couldn't just knock, But my parents, I thank God that they were very
We didn't have the balls to talk about it.
And they did have the balls to talk about it, that's for sure. And everything was hush-hush. Your hostess, Yeah. And then today, more and more people are saying, it's okay to go to therapy. I went to I saw a psychiatrist very young, and my parents were very open about it. And I was happy about that. Yeah. And then I saw some people who needed it, but their parents said, no, you're not going to therapy. There's nothing wrong with you. There doesn't be anything wrong with you to go speak to somebody. Listen, you go see your therapist. You could talk about your business. You could talk, it's the best thing is to go see somebody that you're professionally, because they're not coming from a place of
emotion.
Yeah, they're not attached to it. You know what I'm saying? But if you go to your friend, like when I'm honest with somebody, and they go to their friend and say, well, she said this to me and she said that, and they're like, yeah, I want it, but I can't.
Yeah, right.
So chances are people are lying to you when you ask. And then if they tell you the truth, the friend tells you the truth, chances you're not speaking to the friend anymore. Because people have a hard time with truth.
Yeah.
So that's why when people come to me or I do something and they get angry, I say, but it's coming from a place that we're trying to repair it. Yeah. I'm not trying to hurt you. Yeah. I'm trying to help you to better yourself. So isn't that what we?
Yeah.
So and this, like, now that people are talking more about depression and stigma. Listen, we all suffer in depression. We all have bad days, and it's how bad the day gets. And then, do you understand? And then, how does somebody cope with it? They go to their husband, and what's the husband supposed to say?
We all think that how we're suffering is like we're the first person. You know, and I can just tell you from my experience, a guy comes into my office with erectile dysfunction. He thinks everybody's a porn star and he's just a floppy piece of noodle. But realistically, it's the opposite. So I'm sure in your thing, when you come across all these people, they feel that they're the only ones to be thinking the way they are, and it's probably good to know that this is.
Because chances are you're talking to somebody who's not being truthful. So your best friend could be going through the same thing, but he's not ready to share that with you. Because just in case you tell somebody, it gets out, he doesn't want anybody to know. So that's why, this is why it's really important to go speak to somebody and get help. It's your life. It doesn't matter. There's no stigma to going and get help. Right?
100%.
Otherwise, what do you stay? You stay sad? You stay confused? We live in a world today, okay, that we are, it's so sad that it's so sad because you see so many people so sad and so depressed because of thinking other people are better than them and, they have more friends and this. Yeah, everybody's in the same boat.
Good point, right?
Do you understand?
He has more followers on Instagram, so
really?
I think he has more friends than I do.
Yeah, but friends. I like to see how many friends.
But it's a fake world.
Of course, come on.
It's a fake world. We're all aware of it. It's bad if you think it's a real world and you build your life around it. Very well aware that it's not a real world. I don't know.
No, so
I have 9,000. I don't know 8,500 of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just people who follow me,
right.
like what I do, but I don't base my life on that. I base my life with the people around me that I can.
Yeah, but that's a maturity thing at your age. But go to people that are half your age.
Yes.
They don't have that confidence. They don't know that this is not real. To them, this is the world they grew up in. We went to the library. No kid goes to the library today. You know what I'm saying? It's like their life is, everything is fast. Yeah. Fast. Everything's fast. You meet somebody, you break up with somebody, you go there, and there's never
fast, you're right.
There's never time out. And time out to them seems like it's boredom. It's awful. Kids can't stop. They always have to do something. Yeah. There's always people doing something. Relax. Yeah. Take some downtime. Recharge. Your phone dies, you die too.
And I think in breakup, that's what people need to do. That's one thing that people need to learn how to do. Downtime, recharge.
Yeah, look, I encourage.
Write things down, write your patterns down, figure out what you've done in the past, what you've learned.
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection. Listen, when you get into a relationship, it's two people. I don't care. It's never been, unless you're, like when you hear about, on TV, like, especially in the US, you hear like the wife wants a divorce and the husband shoots the wife because she wants a divorce. We never heard this before. It's like, this is getting out of hand, So I'm just all about trying to rebuild is about you. It's about him. Yeah. Do you understand?
That's the only power you have is working on yourself. You can't control the other person.
And then the question I get asked all the time, do people change? And that's a really good question. Do people change? I can never change you. You can't change him. He, as a therapist, can give you the tools to make some changes in your life. But you have to do the work.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? So I give you the tools. Like, for instance, if the way maybe your appearance and your life or whatever needs some adjusting. It's only I could tell you this is what you need to do. What I think you need to do. It's up to you to do it. Nobody could change you. And I think that's the thing about people, why those red flags. They go into relationships, they know they don't like that about the person, but once we're married, I'm going to come in and change them. It's not happening, right? Do you understand?
That's pretty common.
Right? No, it is common from everybody. You see a woman, you like her, you care about her, and she airs a lot of, her past or her sadness, and you feel, I'm going to save her, I'm going to take care of her. But eventually you get tired. Yeah. Nothing's changing. You're telling her how much you love her, you're giving her all the love in the world, but she doesn't know it. She has to go and get some help.
So Susan, let me ask you a last question. What are some of the tips right now you can give men who are watching?
About?
Few tips. Break it down.
Okay.
They broke up with their girlfrild, what they should do next.
Not even just breaking up. Even if they're in a relationship and they see, what? They're not appreciating each other. It's time to have a talk. That's what everybody wants. I want to thank you. I want to feel appreciated. And if you could do that, if you maybe, as time goes on, I know every time I go out with my partner for dinner, I always say thank you. And sometimes people say, oh my God, I never hear that. What do you mean? Yeah. And it's still 12 years, and everything he does, it's a thank you. Because I appreciate him. Do you know what I'm saying? So the little things, I think people, that's the problem, is that people forget about the little things, the appreciation. You could pick up flower. She's having a little bit of a rough week. Be nice. Go in and buy her a couple, flowers. It doesn't have to be her birthday. It doesn't have to be an occasion. It just makes someone feel appreciated. Just say thank you. I appreciate you. I'm sorry. I've been really busy. I forgot. Could I make it up to you? Just but that's
simple.
Just it's simple. It's the simplest things in life could make you the happiest. And I think that leave a note on her car. Remind her that she's special. Remind her how pretty she is. I mean, listen, I'm a woman. We get insecure, okay? We have body changes at certain ages, things go. We want to be the apple of your eye. We want to be like, oh, you look beautiful today, and you want it back too. Oh my God, you look so handsome today. It's the little things. Yeah. And if you take the little things, you'll see your relationship.
Big things are going to happen.
Well, of course. And you know what? And put down the phone. I was just beside a couple a few days ago where the convertible was down, and the guy was yelling at this young girl to, it's enough. Every time you're on, I could hear, I was on the car beside. I mean, he was yelling that every time you're on your social media, you become a different person. You're angry, and I can't be around you. I can't take this anymore. And he was screaming and this is a young couple. So maybe sometimes it's good to just put away the social media, the phone. Nothing's going to change. I mean, come on. When we didn't have these cell phones growing up, and we had time off.
Sure.
Right? We watch some TV together. Yeah. Now they watch TV. They're on their phone. Enough. Yeah. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
And it's not a healthy addiction. So maybe that could start too. The appreciation, a little bit of more appreciation. And also try to take the social media and the phone and put it away. There's time out. Recharge.
Recharge. So on that note,
thanks
Susan,
again.
You earned the balls.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hope I made a difference in all the balls out there.
So guys, let us know if you have any questions, any comments, put them in the box. Make sure to subscribe, to hit the bell. Susan, where can they find you?
Thank you so much for coming.
They can find me check out my website at Susan Alper Connections, or they could reach me by email at susan@susanalper.com, which is a confidential email. Everything goes directly to me.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming. That was great.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Andrew, where are the balls?
They're here. I'm keeping them away.
Oh, damn.
That's so funny. That's so funny.